Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to have you here today. We're about to explore a truly inspiring story, The Army Wife, a love beyond identity. Today's presentation will take us through the unique experiences, challenges, and the deep love that define the life of an Army wife. We'll look at what makes this journey so special and so powerful. So, let's dive in and discover the incredible story behind this title. So let me tell you about part 1 of Nisha's journey. Nisha has known she's a trans woman since she was 13. From that young age, she started cross-dressing and dating men both online and outside. When she tried to tell her parents, they didn't quite understand. They thought it was just a phase and decided that putting their son, Sushant, into military school would help him become a man. But by then, Sushant knew deep down that she was a girl. Still, she was a patriot at heart and genuinely wanted to serve her country. She thought that joining the Indian Army might be the way to both fulfill her dream and find herself. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. It changed when she met Cadet Vikram, who became her roommate and later her love interest. You can check the first video for that detailed story. One day, the dean caught Nisha and Vikram being intimate. As a result, both faced disciplinary action, and Nisha was rusticated because the Indian Army doesn't recruit transgender individuals. Her parents couldn't handle this situation. They decided to disown her and send her to Sydney, Australia, to start a new life, away from her family. Now moving on to part 2. Nisha didn't just settle in Sydney, she built a remarkable life there, better than anyone could have expected. She excelled in her studies, built a successful career, earned her own money, made friends, traveled the world, and developed a strong sense of self-worth. She had everything except her love, Vikram. Many men approached her, but she rejected everyone. She chose not to have surgery to fully transition into a woman, intentionally staying a virgin for Vikram's sake. While coming to India for a short visit, Nisha was deep in thought, reminiscing about everything she had gone through. During her flight, she was in a deep sleep. Now, she has landed in Mumbai and is heading to Pune to sell a property, something very important that could change her life forever. Will she meet Vikram during this brief trip? That's the big question. Keep watching as the story unfolds to see what happens next. It was the summer of 2022, and I found myself back in India. The moment I landed, I could feel the air growing heavier around me. It wasn't unfamiliar territory, but it was loaded with emotions I couldn't quite shake off. I adjusted my green and white salwar kameez as I stepped out of CH Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport, choosing Indian clothes deliberately to reconnect with my roots. I murmured to myself softly, in India, people still look, knowing that this was part of the experience, part of what I was expecting. Outside, a cab was waiting. The driver asked, "Pune?" And I nodded, settling into the backseat. As the car moved through the crowded streets of Mumbai, I kept my eyes fixed outside. I saw familiar roads, but alongside them, unfamiliar feelings stirred within me. I didn't look for memories, I avoided them altogether. No visits, no detours, no family. I reminded myself quietly, they're dead. The highway to Pune stretched ahead, symbolizing my purpose here, to sell the flat and leave. That was all I intended to do. But even as I told myself this, I sensed that something was different, like the past wasn't quite finished with me yet. When I reached my hotel in Pune, exhaustion wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I took a moment to freshen up and then prepared the documents for the next day's sale of my property. I checked everything twice. This was a crucial step. I whispered to myself, just 3 days, reminding myself of how little time I had left here. Night fell, and as darkness settled, I knew this chapter was closing. But the echoes of that summer, the weight of the past, lingered, reminding me that even when we try to leave things behind, they sometimes find a way to follow us. So here she is, dressed in a soft Indian maxi gown, sitting on her bed with her phone in hand. This has become a familiar scene for her, a habit she's never really let go of. She spends time on dating apps, chatting in rooms where everything feels anonymous. These conversations aren't about love anymore, they're about escape. She scrolls through profiles, pauses, then clicks on one. It's simple, nothing extraordinary about it, yet somehow, there's something that feels easy. She types hi and hits send. The reply comes instantly, and just like that, a conversation begins. This moment highlights how she's seeking a form of relief or distraction, and how these digital interactions, while seemingly trivial, serve as a way for her to connect, even if just temporarily. It ties into the larger theme of how people seek solace and connection in different ways, especially when life feels overwhelming. The chat flowed effortlessly, almost too effortlessly, which was the first hint that something felt different. Minutes turned into hours, and I found myself smiling, laughing, and responding without even thinking. It was one of those conversations that just took over, where time seemed to disappear. Then he asked, "So, what brings you to Pune?" I casually replied, "Work," trying to keep things light. He responded with, "What about you?" And I said, "Army." That word army still carried a lot of weight in my heart, even after all these years. I paused for a second before replying, brushing it off with a simple nice, and the conversation kept flowing. As we went deeper into the chat, I felt it warming up. I didn't quite understand why, but I felt safe, more comfortable than I expected. Dinner time came and went unnoticed, and suddenly I muttered, "Oh shit, it's late?" quickly ordering food so I wouldn't get distracted. Even while eating, I kept replying, feeling bolder and more at ease with each message. And then out of the blue, I typed, "Wanna see me?" There was a pause, then he replied, "Sure." I took a photo, soft lighting, loose hair, a natural smile, and sent it. Seconds later, I received a compliment, "Very beautiful, as usual." That made me pause, and I asked, "As usual?" Then his next message came, and it hit me hard. "Hey, do I know you? Your face feels familiar." My heart skipped a beat. Before I could even think, a photo of him arrived. And in that moment, everything stopped. My fingers froze, my breath caught. I whispered his name under my breath, Vikram. Major Vikram Khanna, my Vikram. It was as if all those years collapsed into seconds. My chest tightened and I felt tears welling up instantly. I typed slowly, "It's me, you're Nisha." The reply was almost immediate. "What? Nisha?" I knew I had to act fast. I sent my number, trembling but determined. The phone rang immediately. I answered, but there was only silence. Then I heard his voice. "Nish." My breath hitched. "Vic." And just like that, everything came rushing back, memories, feelings, everything we had left behind. The call lasted for hours, a conversation that spanned two lives, separated by years, now suddenly colliding again. Vikram's voice cracked as he asked, "Where were you?" And she whispered back, "Alive, just, without you." There was a heavy silence, thick with emotion. She shared everything, her time in Australia, her transition, her new life, her struggles, and Vikram listened quietly, without interrupting. Finally she asked, "And you?" A deep breath from the other side. He responded softly, "I stayed, in the army." He went on to tell her about his training, his postings, the National Defense Academy. Then he mentioned marriage, a practical decision made under his parents' influence, and softly added, "A son." Her heart sank at those words. She asked softly, "His name?" "Arjun," he replied. "He's beautiful." Vikram's voice softened even more. He also shared about his marriage. "It didn't last," he said slowly. She opened her eyes, realizing the depth of his pain. "Divorced," she said. Her heart shifted again, but not with happiness or sadness. It was something more complex. He revealed that his wife ran away with another man, claiming he was always away at the border in Kashmir, not with her. But the real reason, he admitted, was that they never shared intimacy. He confided that he was still stuck on her, that he kept her photo in his wallet. Yet he saw a silver lining. His ex-wife left their son with him, which was a rare good thing. He whispered, "Life," and they both fell silent, contemplating the weight of everything shared. Then he broke the quiet, saying, "Come meet me tomorrow." Her breath hitched at that. She asked, "Where?" He replied, "NDA." There was a pause, then he asked softly, "Will you come?" "Nisha." Without hesitation, her answer was a clear yes, and Vikram let out a soft laugh. "Good, because I've waited long enough." That night, neither of them slept. She explained her reason for being in Pune, and Vikram suggested she come to the NDA facility as a guest after her real estate sale was complete, and then they could go out for dinner. Nisha agreed eagerly. "Done 100%. See you tomorrow." Vikram responded in kind. Likewise, my dear. For the first time in years, hope flickered again, real, dangerous, beautiful. And tomorrow, their past would finally stand face to face with their present. As the morning sunlight filtered gently through the trees of the National Defense Academy, I want you to imagine that peaceful, almost sacred atmosphere. Earlier that same morning, Nisha had finalized a significant chapter in her life by signing the papers to sell her property in Pune. The municipality office was bustling, crowded with people, the air thick with the sounds of bureaucracy, papers being shuffled, voices raised, decisions being made. The lawyer looked at her and asked, "Are you sure about this?" And I love how she confidently responded, "Yes, of course, it's time to let go of the past, fully." That moment marked a turning point, symbolizing her readiness to move forward. The keys were handed over, stamped, signed, sealed, signifying the official transfer. The money had already been transferred to her account, an end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Now, as she stepped outside the office, adjusting her dupatta nervously, there was a mix of emotions, feeling lighter yet heavier at the same time. She was shedding a part of her past, but also carrying the weight of change. The gates of the NDA loomed ahead, and she saw soldiers in their crisp uniforms marching past with discipline and precision, reminding us of the order and structure that define the military environment. And then her eyes caught him, Vikram, standing tall, strong, with the familiar look in his eyes and that same warm smile. But he appeared older, more mature. Life had sculpted him, yet the core of who he was remained untouched. Vikram picked her up at the gate, and I love how he was amused at seeing how beautiful she had become. He took her hand and started guiding her across the facility, explaining the surroundings, making her feel at home. Her heartbeat quickened, an unmistakable sign of her emotions. She instinctively straightened herself, and with a sense of respect and affection, she saluted sharply, saying, "Major Vikram Kanma." Vikram blinked in surprise, then a smile softened his face. I love her spontaneous comment, "Ha, wowa," under her breath, a moment of genuine admiration and surprise. Vikram then raised a hand to gently stop her, reminding her, "The salute should be done only when you are in uniform. Have you forgotten basic etiquette, Nisha?" Her cheeks flushed at that gentle teasing, and she replied playfully, "Old habits die hard, sir," lowering her hand. The soft laugh Vikram let out cracked the tension, and I want you to feel that moment, full of unspoken understanding and warmth. She then walked forward, her heart pounding, and softly breathed, "Vikram." He stepped closer, closing the distance between them, their eyes locking in a moment that felt suspended in time. It's such a powerful scene, two people reconnecting, feeling the weight of everything they've been through, yet knowing they are exactly where they're meant to be. After all these years, his voice trembled slightly, not with fear but with recognition, with longing. "I thought I lost you forever." But she whispered softly, "I never left, not really." A pause followed, a silent acknowledgement that their past, their present, and an unspoken future all hovered in that heartbeat. He extended his hand, and she hesitated for a moment. Then she grasped it. That small gesture sparked something electric, dangerous yet beautiful, reminding them both of their youth, of promises made, of first love. He softly said, "Come, let me show you around." And every step she took beside him felt surreal, like stepping into a different world. They visited the parade ground, the dormitories, the mess halls, places that had shaped him, and now, in this moment, were shaping their reunion. For Nisha, being familiar with military life, she understood everything he showed her. After the quick tour, he took her to the amazing military restaurant on campus for a candlelight dinner. It was like a dream for Nisha, and probably for Vikram as well. As they talked about their current lives, they eventually reached the point where they had been separated and how life had unfolded for each of them. Nisha's life had already been discussed, but for Vikram, after that fateful day, life in the military school turned into a nightmare. His parents became strict, started snooping on him, trying to control every aspect of his life. Yet his determination to serve the country remained unwavering. He completed his schooling, then the formalities to join the Indian Army, exam after exam, and ultimately he became a lieutenant, posted in Kashmir. As he settled into his role, his parents arranged his marriage without his consent. He told me about the divorce episode in detail, and when I asked about Arjun, he said his son lives with his grandparents in New Delhi. Their conversation flowed naturally, light teasing, sharing memories, leaving some sentences unfinished as if time itself paused. I asked her, "Do you remember that night on the school bench?" She chuckled and said, "How could I forget? You ran away from the tide." And I smirked, saying, "And you didn't save me." He feigned hurt, replying, "I was waiting for you to scream." And in that moment, laughter and tears bridged the years that separated them, bringing their story full circle. As evening falls, the academy's lake begins to shimmer with the fading twilight, setting a quiet, reflective scene. Nisha stands by the railing, her hands gripping tightly, clearly carrying emotional weight. Vikram appears beside her, and for a moment, silence hangs heavily between them, tangled with the weight of their pasts. Nisha finally murmurs, I need to tell you something," breaking the silence with a sense of vulnerability. He turns to her, eyes searching for understanding, and simply responds, "Anything." She hesitates, her words lodged deep inside, painful to speak. Finally, she whispers, "I never completed the transition." This reveals a crucial detail, her inner struggle and unresolved feelings. Vikram's gaze softens, blending confusion with understanding, showing that he's beginning to grasp her inner turmoil. She continues, I wanted to stay yours," expressing her deep desire to remain connected despite her fears. "I feared, if I did, I wouldn't be able to control myself, my desires, my love for you." This moment highlights her vulnerability and the internal conflict she faces, her love for Vikram intertwined with her fears of losing control. Vikram reaches for her hand gently, offering reassurance. "You stayed true, in ways I never imagined," he says softly, acknowledging her courage and authenticity. Her eyes glisten with relief and vulnerability, and then, unexpectedly, Vikram lets out a laugh, breaking the tension. "God, you are impossible," he says, shaking his head. She responds with a smile through tears, "I've always been impossible." They share a quiet moment of stillness, where every memory, regret, and desire seems to converge. A soft breeze stirs, symbolizing the passing of time and their emotional release. Vikram leans in closer, their foreheads touching, asking softly, "Do you trust me?" She breathes out, "I always have," affirming her unwavering trust. In that moment, years of separation and pain melt away, leaving only this profound connection and the unspoken promise of what's to come. As night fully descended, the NDA grounds settled into silence, the calm waters of the lake perfectly mirroring the stars above. It was a peaceful, almost sacred moment. Vikram and Nisha walked slowly, side by side, feeling the weight and the wonder of what was unfolding. Vikram broke the silence, saying, "I never stopped thinking about you," his voice filled with genuine emotion. "Even when life took me away." Nisha's chest tightened at his words. She felt a deep ache, a mixture of pain and longing. She responded softly, I never let anyone in, not truly, not after you." Her honesty was raw, vulnerable. Vikram looked at her with intense eyes, seeking understanding. "Then why did you even try?" he asked. She laughed, a soft, painful sound, yet also freeing. "I wanted to see if life could be normal," she admitted. "But nothing was normal without you." The words carried the weight of her longing and hope. Vikram paused, then gently took both her hands in his, holding them firmly. "Then let's stop pretending," he said quietly. Her breath hitched, surprised by the sincerity. "Pretending," she echoed. He nodded, looking into her eyes. "Life, us, everything," he continued. We deserve honesty and love, unapologetic, real love." Tears streamed down her face as she laughed and cried at the same time. "Yes," she whispered. "I want only you." Without hesitation, Vikram pulled her into an embrace. The stars above seemed to bear witness to their reunion, two hearts, long apart, finally beating together. For the first time in years, Nisha felt whole. Not Sushant, not Nisha alone, but both of them together. After their emotional night, Vikram dropped her at her hotel, planting a gentle kiss on her cheek, which she admired deeply. They shared a temporary goodbye, promising to stay connected moving forward. Vikram's continued emotional involvement gave Nisha renewed hope for her future. Later, that night, after getting ready in her night dress, she initiated a video call with Vikram. They rekindled the passion they had left behind since their school days, sharing that intimacy over the phone. During their conversation, Nisha opened up about her physical condition, explaining why she hadn't undergone the sex change operation yet. Vikram's reaction was deeply emotional. He promised her that her wish might come true soon, showing his unwavering support and love. This chapter, Confessions Under the Stars, highlights the importance of honesty, emotional connection, and the hope that love can bring, even after years of separation. It ties into the overall theme of finding truth, acceptance, and genuine love in our lives. As Nisha closed the hotel room door behind her, her hand still trembling slightly, the silence inside felt deafening, louder than anything she had experienced all day. She leaned back against the door, closed her eyes, and softly whispered, "Vikram!" A faint smile curved her lips, and she took a deep, uncontrollable breath. After years, after everything, he was back. She slowly made her way toward the mirror. The same face stared back at her, but she knew she wasn't the same girl anymore. Her fingers gently touched her lips, recalling the warmth of his kiss on her cheek. She murmured to herself, "Why does it feel like nothing changed?" And everything changed at the same time. Her phone vibrated, but she didn't need to check. She knew who it was. Without hesitation, she picked up the video call. The moment Vikram's face appeared on the screen, both of them just stared, no words, only eyes speaking volumes. Finally, he broke the silence with a soft "hi," his voice gentler than before. She responded with a quiet "hi," almost a whisper. There was a pause, then a smile spread across his face. He said, "You look even more beautiful now. Properly. Fully." She blushed slightly and turned her face away, feeling the depth of that compliment. This moment encapsulates the night that returned everything. It's about rediscovering lost feelings, confronting the past, and realizing that some connections never truly fade. It ties into our overall theme of how certain moments, especially reunions, can reshape our understanding of ourselves and our relationships. Now, as we look at this emotionally charged moment, we see a delicate exchange between the characters. She softly says, "Shut up! You've seen me all day," indicating a sense of vulnerability and exhaustion. His response, "Not like this," with a deepening tone, hints at a different, more intense connection forming. Her heartbeat changes, she adjusts her hair, sits on the bed, and pulls her legs closer, signaling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. She teases him gently, asking, "So, Major, is this how you talk to a lady?" And he smirks, replying, "Only to my lady." This playful banter masks deeper emotions, but then the atmosphere shifts. There's a heavier, warmer silence that feels almost dangerous. When he softly says, "Nisha, come closer," it's an invitation filled with longing and vulnerability. She hesitates briefly, but then brings the phone closer, and their breaths nearly synchronize despite the physical distance. This moment underscores the intimacy that transcends the screen, emphasizing emotional closeness. He continues, reflecting on her, sharing personal details, her body, her decisions, highlighting the trust she's placed in him. Her gaze drops, vulnerability flickering in her eyes. He reassures her that her wishes will be fulfilled soon, calling her babe, which brings her to tears, not of sadness, but of relief, belonging, and a deep emotional release. She questions if he still desires her as she is, and he responds without hesitation, affirming his love for her authentic self, the way she chose to be and waited. This affirmation is a powerful moment of validation and acceptance. Her breath catches, symbolizing the culmination of years of holding onto hope. That night, words soften, pauses lengthen, and emotions break through every barrier they had in the real world. They realize they don't need physical touch or proximity. Their connection is profound enough to transcend it. Between whispered names, shy smiles, and unspoken desires, they find what they had lost years ago: trust, love, and a renewed sense of belonging. This chapter captures a night of emotional reconnection, returning everything that was lost, reaffirming that sometimes the deepest bonds are forged in moments of vulnerability and honesty. Morning came too fast. Nisha barely slept, but strangely, she wasn't tired. She felt alive. Her phone was still in her hand, a silent witness to the night's emotions. Their call had ended only a few hours ago, or maybe it never really ended. It's funny how time blurs when your mind is caught up in something so meaningful. As she got ready, she whispered to herself, "Today, I go back. But then she paused, a new thought forming. But not alone anymore. That realization, that connection, made her heart lighter. At the airport, everything felt different despite the usual crowds and chaos. It's the same scene, but her heart felt full, lighter, somehow transformed. Her phone buzzed again. It was Vikram. "Reached?" he asked. She smiled and replied, "Yes, checking in now." His response was quick. "Good girl." She rolled her eyes playfully but couldn't hide her smile. "Don't start again," she teased. He shot back, "I've just started." You could see her head shake, a smile like a teenager in love spreading across her face. The flight took off, and as she looked out at the clouds surrounding her, her mind was somewhere between Pune and him. Throughout the journey, messages kept coming short, long, random, keeping the connection alive across the distance. At one point, he asked, "Miss me already?" And she replied, "Shut up, I didn't even leave properly." His instant reply was, "Come back then." She paused, her heart skipping a beat, then softly smiled, saying, "Soon." That moment, that promise, marked the start of something deeper than just a reunion. The years they lost seemed to vanish hour by hour. They weren't strangers anymore, nor even old lovers. Something else had taken root. It was deeper, inevitable, a journey between two worlds. And that's what makes this chapter so powerful. How love can bridge distances, time, and even the space between two lives, bringing two souls back together. Let me take you through this powerful moment in Nisha's journey. She's in New Delhi, on a one-day stopover, but for her, it suddenly means everything. As she steps out of the airport, adjusting her dupatta and looking around, you can feel her sense of uncertainty and curiosity. She quietly whispers, "This city feels different today." Her phone buzzes again. It's Vikram. He asks, "So madam, what's the plan?" Nisha takes a deep breath, and without overthinking, she says what's on her mind. She wants to meet Arjun. There's a silence, a pause that feels heavy. Vikram's voice softens as he asks, "Are you sure?" And Nisha replies simply, "Yes, I don't know why, but I want to see him. Just once." Another pause, then Vikram promises to arrange it, saying, "Okay, I'll arrange it." Her heart starts racing. Her emotions are all over the place. She's unsure what she's feeling, but deep down it feels right. Later that day, she finds herself outside the school gate, seeing children playing, laughing, living fully. And then she sees him, Arjun. Vikram's voice comes through her phone, "Arjun." The little boy turns, eyes curious, face innocent. Nisha's breath catches. She's overwhelmed. Vikram introduces her on video call. "This is Nisha Auntie." Arjun walks closer, looks at her and smiles. In that moment, something inside her melts, an emotion she can't quite name. She softly says, "Hi," bending slightly. He shyly responds, "Hi." She hands him chocolates and toys, things she picked at random, yet now they feel meaningful. She asks, "Do you like them?" He nods, then suddenly says, "You're nice." Her eyes fill instantly with emotion. She whispers, "Thank you." And at that moment, she realizes she's no longer just a visitor. She feels something deeper, something that changes everything. This is the chapter, the layover, that changed everything for Nisha. Later that evening, I found myself standing in front of the statue of Subhas Chandra Bose at India Gate. It was a moment that truly felt like a turning point. This statue represents not just a historical figure, but an enduring symbol of patriotism and sacrifice, something I've always admired and aspired to. Standing there, I realized how much this moment was my inspiration, but also a reflection of an unfinished dream I carry inside me. I gently folded my hands, feeling a mix of emotions. I whispered to myself, I couldn't serve my country the way I wanted. It was a quiet acknowledgement of my limitations, but then I added, but maybe life has another plan for me. Suddenly, my phone vibrated again, breaking the silence. It was Vikram. I answered, my voice trembling a little, and he asked, "How was it?" I managed a small smile through tears and said, "I don't know what just happened today, but something changed inside me." He was curious, asking softly, "What?" I looked back at the statue, feeling the weight and the hope it represented. Then I spoke slowly, almost to myself. I think I found a reason bigger than myself. And in that moment, I realized that for the first time in years, I wasn't just looking back at my past or my regrets. I was actually moving forward, inspired to find a purpose that could make a difference. That's what this chapter, the layover that changed everything, is really about. A moment of clarity that reignited my spirit and set me on a new path. As I reached Sydney, the flight actually felt shorter than usual, or maybe her heart was just too full to notice the time passing. Nisha leaned against the window, watching the clouds drift beneath her, but her mind wasn't really there. It was with Vikram, with Arjun, with everything that had suddenly come back to life inside her. Her phone still held his last message. "Miss you already." She smiled softly, whispering under her breath, "Me too." Sydney welcomed her as it always had, calm, familiar, and comforting. But somehow something had changed. As she entered her house, placed her bag down, and looked around, it didn't feel quite complete anymore. She murmured to herself, "This house was enough before," then paused and softly added, "But now." Her phone rang. Vikram. Without hesitation, he asked, "Reached?" She replied, "Yes," walking slowly toward the balcony. "Just got in." "Good, I was waiting," he said. She leaned against the railing, closing her eyes for a moment. Then she reflected aloud, "You didn't let me feel alone even for a second during the journey." And Vikram's response was simple but meaningful. "Because you're not alone anymore." There was silence, but this silence was different, more comforting than before. Then he softly said, "Nisha, Arjun liked you." Her lips immediately curved into a smile. She whispered, "I know, I felt it." And Vikram paused before saying, "And I liked seeing you with him." Her breath caught, and something inside her shifted again, deeper this time. That night she didn't scroll through chats, didn't open dating apps, didn't look for distractions. For the first time in years, she didn't need them. This chapter marks a return to Sydney, but it's not the same. It's a new beginning, a different understanding of herself and her connections, and a step toward something more genuine and whole. So Nisha's short trip to India turned out to be far more special than she ever imagined. She met Vikram, who has now become a major in the Indian Army. Their encounter was unexpected, but it sparked a connection that grew stronger. They reunited and promised to stay connected, no matter what. When Nisha returned to Australia, she met Vikram's son, and surprisingly, she felt maternal instincts kicking in, as if he was her own child. This was a new and emotional development for her, and it made her hope even more that she and Vikram might find a way to be together. Now she's back in Australia, and the big question remains, what's next? Will Nisha and Vikram get married? Will their love story have a happy ending? Please comment, and keep watching this space for the next part of Nisha's journey. So what's next?